Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Murnane podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know it has been a little while since I filmed one, and I've been meaning to make this episode for a while. Been kind of procrastinating on it just because I felt like I didn't fully necessarily understand everything about everything that I'm about to talk about. But at the end of the day, no one knows everything about everything. So I am going to talk about this, explain it in the way that I understand, because I think it's a incredibly important sort of realization, revelation. I don't know how to describe it. It's not anything insane, but I think it is very interesting, and maybe it'll give you a new perspective for those who follow me on social media, which I'm sure a lot of you listening do. You've probably noticed that I've been posting about this idea of who the fuck we are. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So if you are listening or watching on YouTube, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It takes about 2 seconds. Would really appreciate it. If you're on a podcast, follow or do whatever you do on podcasts. It would be greatly appreciated. Toss it a like, all those good stuff, all those good things. So anyway, without further ado, who the fuck are we now? Again, this is not necessarily a hard and fast thing. This is my understanding, and I feel like it makes sense. It makes more sense than anything else that I've understood previously. It seems to be what all of the, you know, quote unquote enlightened people were talking about, Jesus, the Buddha. And I feel like I've been tiptoeing around this idea for a long time with all the books that I've read, talking about this idea that we are, not necessarily, well, we are the universe experiencing form, but it never really clicked to me until I realized that I am not Andrew Murnane. And understanding that is when it finally clicked for me. And when it happened, it was a few weeks ago. And I was going through just like, I was identifying a lot with my thoughts. I just had a bunch of like random thoughts going on that I was like kind of struggling with, like self doubt type things for probably close to a week. And as much as I tried to, fully accept those thoughts, whatever, blah, 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 go through gratitude, go through meditation, just wasn't, nothing was really working until there was a day I was actually listening to the audiobook of Stillness Speaks by Eckhart Tolle, and he it's sort of like, I don't know exactly what chapter it was or what line it was, but it kind of hit me that like you don't have a past in the way that you think that you do. You have memories of the past, but it's just your memory. When you're thinking about the future, it's just your imagination. But like the only thing real is this moment. So it came to me that maybe, you know, what if you didn't have a past? What if you didn't have a past? And that's how it kind of started. It was like, you have these memories and ideas in your head, but what if all of a sudden they weren't personal? What if they were just ideas and you didn't remember them as happening to you? And it kind of took me down this path of like, if I don't have a past in that sense, then maybe I am nothing beside, like, I am not this human meat suit avatar that I've been conditioned throughout my life to believe that I am. Maybe I am simply, what I got to was simply the present awareness of this human avatar, that I am not Andrew Murnane. And that when it hit me, that part, it was like, fuck, holy shit. And it kind of like, that was kind of the sort of realization that what if I'm not Andrew Murnane? What if I'm just experiencing him? What if I'm just aware of him? And I'm going to get to a few points of describing this idea in different ways. I don't know. This will probably be, I don't know, like 20-minute episode maybe. But it hit me that maybe I'm not Andrew Murnane, because where does anxiety and fear and worry and regret stem from? It stems from identifying with the form that we're experiencing. So if we're not that form, it can help with so many worries and fears. And it's like, if Andrew gets nervous, I'm not nervous. I'm aware that Andrew is nervous, and I'm simply the present awareness of Andrew. I have no form, have no past, have no future. I'm simply the present awareness, the eternal now is what I am, and it's what you are. So I started to realize that, Andrew is a human. It's not like Andrew doesn't exist. I mean, he exists in the way that everything else in the universe exists, but he's a guy, with brown hair, brown eyes, has a mind, has a body, has worries, has fears, has desires, but it's not who I am. I am aware of the guy. Like, say, I or Andrew starts feeling nervous. Who knows that Andrew's feeling nervous? You might if I start, like shaking or sweating under my armpits, but I know because of the thoughts that I'm having mostly, or like how I'm feeling, and then the thoughts I've attached to that feeling. So maybe I'm just aware that Andrew is nervous, and maybe I'm not Andrew who is nervous. And, or if Andrew's feeling bored, like who knows that Andrew's bored? I do. Andrew's mind starts racing. Who knows this? I do. I am aware of things in this room. I'm aware of this box of tissues. I have no idea. If you can hear a sound, I have no idea what that is. But anyway, I'm aware of this microphone in front of me. I'm aware of my environment, or Andrew's environment. I'm aware of how Andrew feels. What if I'm not Andrew? What if I'm just the background awareness? I think Michael Singer refers to it as the backseat awareness. You're the awareness not only of this human meat suit avatar's environment, but you're the awareness of them as well. Maybe you're formless. Maybe you're just experiencing them. And maybe you're not actually them. And then it gets deeper because, say, you're having a conversation with someone and they're talking to you. You're aware of their voice. And then all of a sudden you have an internal dialogue going on. You're aware of that voice in your head. Are you speaking those thoughts in your head, or are you just aware of them? Are they just happening subconsciously as part of your subconscious programming, talking to you? And you're aware of those thoughts, and you're also aware of that person's voice and that person and them speaking. So you're aware of them equally. And that's the whole thing, is when I referenced, I'm aware of this tissue box. I'm aware of everything out that window. I'm aware of the microphone in front of me. I'm aware of how Andrew feels, Andrew's emotions, Andrew's thoughts, Andrew's worries, Andrew's fears, Andrew's desires. I'm also aware of those. And it's not that I'm more aware of Andrew's internal dialogue or worries or fears. I'm not more aware of those. I'm equally aware. I'm equally the awareness. And once you become aware that you are aware, I think that's like when it sort of clicks, is that you're not these thoughts, you're not this person feeling these emotions. You're aware that this person is feeling these emotions and you are experiencing them, sort of like, like the movie Avatar. For those who have seen it, imagine the movie Avatar. Basically, these people who go into these little, I haven't seen it in like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, but they go into these little pods and they basically are living in or experiencing these massive avatar creatures, like human like looking alien things. And they're experiencing them. They know that they aren't them, but they're experiencing them. Sort of like that. Like that is how I am now thinking of Andrew, that I'm experiencing him, that I'm aware of everything that he feels, everything that he thinks. And the one part that I'm still struggling with, so anyone listening, if you have any thoughts on this part, is like the voice part. I think we have a voice and we're able to use a voice like we're able to use our hands or our feet, and I'm trying to figure out, like, who's the one speaking. Am I speaking or is Andrew speaking? I think I'm speaking. Am I aware that Andrew's speaking? I don't know. We'll get to that. I'm not a fucking expert in all of this. Like, I am just trying to share my current level of understanding. And I'm going to get into a few things here. So, who we are not, I already touched on that. We are not the person we have been conditioned to believe that we are. Maybe we're just the awareness of them. Maybe we are aware of them equally as we are aware of their environment. And brings me to the next point, that we are all the same thing. So if I am aware, say for example, I'm going to use a few examples to try to explain this, because I think this is the harder part to wrap your head around, or for me to wrap my head around at least. I don't know if I've fully wrapped my head around it yet, but the best way I can explain it is that, or there's a few ways anyway, is that I'm aware of my environment, of Andrew's environment right now. Sitting in a room, there's a window right there, there's a microphone in front of me, Kleenex here. Like, I am more aware of Andrew's environment right now than you are of Andrew's environment. You are more aware of your environment than Andrew is of his environment, of your environment. So you're more aware of your environment than Andrew is of your environment. Fuck. You're more aware of your environment than Andrew is of your environment. I'm more aware of Andrew's environment than you are of Andrew's environment. I'm a little bit more aware of Andrew than you are of Andrew. You're a little bit more aware of the human that you've been conditioned to believe that you are than I am aware of them, because of our positions. So we're all the awareness is the best word that I can use to describe. We are all the awareness, simply experiencing itself, the universe, in different positions, like different pieces of the same whole. Like, another analogy you can use is the ocean. So the ocean is the ocean. There's waves in it, those are the ocean. It sprays up, there's drops, those are the ocean. If you scoop up, say for example, I have this water bottle and this is ocean water. I scoop up the ocean water and put it right here. This is still the ocean, right? So this is still the ocean. The ocean is still, the ocean and everything. What if the universe is like the ocean, and we are, this awareness that we are, is just like, little drops or little cups of the ocean? It's all the same thing. And see this water, it now is in the form of a cup. So the ocean is obviously all over the earth. It's like, 60-70% of the earth. Now this is also the ocean, but it's in the form of a cup. What if we're the same in the sense of the universe? Like, the universe is the ocean. We are the universe in the form of humans. A tree is the universe in the form of a tree. A dog is the universe in the form of a dog. The universe experiencing a dog. The universe experiencing a tree. The universe experiencing a human. And we are all the universe experiencing itself through form. And that, as Alan Watts puts it, the reason for life, the reason for being alive is to be alive. There is no deep, transcendental, explosive reason. It's so obvious, and yet we're always searching for it. It's to be alive now. And now, right now, is the only thing there ever is. And we are now. So, people say we have the present moment. The present moment's the only thing we ever have. But it's also more so, and it's more so, the only thing we ever are. We are only the present moment, right? When are we not the present moment? And we are the present awareness of this moment. We are aware of the human we're experiencing. We're aware of how they feel in this moment. We are aware of their environment in this moment. When are we aware of anything besides now? We are aware if they are worrying about something in the future. They're projecting a future outcome, probably to feel safer about themselves or something. We are aware that they are worried about the future. Say they start regretting something from the past. We are aware in this moment, we are aware that they are regretting something from the past. And it's always now, the eternal now. This is eternity. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around that part, that like now is eternity. Like, it's kind of got me in a little bit of a pretzel, but I'm going to keep working through it. So another analogy you can use is cells. Like we are made up of a billions of cells. The universe is made up of billions of things. It's all the universe. Our cells are all us. We don't name individual cells and be like, this is an individual, this is an individual, this is an individual. They're individual cells that create us, and everything is individual atoms. We're all just carbon, just named carbon, essentially. But so we talk about ourselves in this conglomerate of cells and label it. The universe is just a conglomerate of everything in existence, everything that we are aware of is the universe. And yet we differentiate and divvy things up. So we are all the same, the universe, experiencing form, and we have this illusion of separateness, which is probably the greatest illusion there has ever been. So, yeah, so that's everything I got for how we are the same. In terms of so I think this actually has helped me a lot with feelings of anxiety and feelings towards death, like the idea of death. So with anxiety, so understanding that you are not the person you've been conditioned to believe that you are the present awareness of them, your awareness of the background awareness of them and their environment equally in the present moment, equal awareness of if their mind's racing, you're aware of that. If they get like hit really hard, I'm aware that of this feeling now in my arm. I'm aware of it in Andrew's arm. I'm aware of that no differently than I'm aware of this camera in front of me, of this microphone. The awareness is equal. It's equal awareness. So when it comes to feelings of anxiety, what is anxiety? The fear of loss, essentially. It's the fear of loss. You're anxious about a future event happening. You're not anxious that it's going to go super well. You're anxious that it's going to go poorly and that you are going to somehow be diminished or lose something. It's the fear of loss, whether that means material or immaterial, whether that means, you might lose if you're anxious about a sporting event, that you might play poorly and lose the game. If you're anxious about a speech, you're worried that you're going to lose a piece of your reputation because you are identified and conditioned to believe you are identified with this human. They may seemingly, not really, but like seemingly lose a reputation or material objects in the eyes of the other humans, but you're not them. You're not them. So there is nothing you can lose. You're just aware of them. You're just experiencing them. You're just experiencing form. You're just experiencing them. So there is nothing you can lose. And that's pretty much all anxiety is. And it goes for both gain and loss. So desire is to gain more in order to add to yourself. You're desiring to, date that person or to add to yourself. You're desiring to buy that car or whatever, to add to yourself, to add materially or emotionally to this human. But you're not them. You're just the awareness of them. So there's nothing you can add to yourself. You're as the awareness, as the universal consciousness, the universal awareness, there's nothing you can gain and there's nothing you can lose. So once you realize that you're just the awareness, the background awareness of this human meat suit, there is nothing to gain. There is nothing to lose. So it becomes, as Jim Carrey puts it, a play of form. We are simply the universe experiencing itself through form, and we are aware of itself. We are the awareness. And once you become aware that you are the awareness, you can realize that there's nothing you can add to yourself, there's nothing you can lose from yourself. And that's all that desire and fear are. Desire and worry, anxiety, regret, all of those emotions. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel them. That's part of experiencing a human, is to feel all of the emotions. You should never suppress those emotions, but by understanding that you are not this person you've been conditioned to believe that you are, and by disidentifying not only from their mind, but from their body, and not like in the sense of full detachment, I guess. I don't know. I'm still like playing with these ideas of like disassociation, detachment, but it's that you're simply experiencing them. Yes, you are, you know, confined sort of to their body, like you're experiencing them, which is just like, it's like pretty fucking dope. Like we're experiencing these avatars and there's nothing we can gain or lose. So it's just like we're just being alive out here. And it's easier said than done. Like I can be pretty fucking emotional. Like I can get very emotional. Trust me. But that's part of it, and that's part of the experience of being a human. But once you're able to, when you're able to remember and trigger this memory that you are not, or a reminder, it's not a memory, a reminder that you are not this human meat suit. You are, I am not Andrew Murnane. I'm the present awareness of Andrew Murnane. It's like there's nothing I have to do, nothing I have to gain or lose. It's like I do things because I want to. Like, why the fuck am I filming a podcast right now when I have a flight in 2 hours and I'm going to see friends this weekend? Like, why am I doing this? Like, what? You have nothing to gain, nothing to lose? No, because I enjoy it. I like talking about this stuff. I enjoy creating content. I enjoy making podcast episodes. Like, I enjoy this stuff. That's why I do it. Not because I think I have things to gain from it. I mean, potentially there are some things, like it would be cool to like just do this all the time, you know. I'd have to start making money from it somehow, you know. I don't know. So that's how I think it helps with feelings of anxiety, is like when you're feeling, say, for example, you have a, I always go back to speeches and presentations because I think, that sort of thing, anxiety like that and death are people's two biggest things they deal with in life for the most part. At least they've been mine throughout my life. So that's the experience I have to base off of. But when it comes to feelings of nervousness, feelings of anxiety, if you're able to disidentify from those feelings and just realize that you're aware that this person you're experiencing is feeling nervous, it creates this sort of layer of peace. So I've had points in the past, few weeks where I've gotten nervous and it's like start feeling nervous. And then I'm like, ooh, I'm aware that Andrew is nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm aware that Andrew is nervous. And it creates this sort of like, all of a sudden it's not like I'm nervous like this. For those listening to the podcast, I'm clamping my hands together flat so they're touching. It's not that I'm identified with that nervousness. I'm not nervous. I'm aware that Andrew is nervous. So I'm now separating my hands slightly. Creates this little layer between, this layer of peace, where it's like you're aware of the feeling of nervousness, but you're not identified with it. So it's like you're the that which is aware of that feeling. So you can just observe it. And feelings, like all feelings, they eventually, they're fleeting. They pass through you. Once you're able to become aware of them, they don't stick around. They stick around by, trying to get rid of them because you've identified with them, trying to force them to go away. What you resist persists. Trying to fight them, trying to actively get rid of them, causes them to stick around. That friction causes them to stick around. Again, what you resist persists. So by realizing that you are simply aware of them, you don't have to identify with them. You're aware of them, and they'll begin to pass through you. And then, if you're able to fully internalize this when it comes to speaking type things, social anxiety, stuff like that, like, you have nothing to gain or lose. You're okay either way with whatever outcome happens, seemingly, you know, quote unquote good or quote unquote bad things happen. There's nothing you can gain or lose, possibly nothing you can possibly gain or lose. So it you you let go of trying to gain and worrying about loss because they're impossible. So anyway, last point when it comes to death. So realizing that you're not this person you've been conditioned to believe that you are. So when it comes to death, they die. Andrew is going to die one day, but I'm not. You are life experiencing form. There is no opposite to life. It's not life and death, it's birth and death. Your human experience begins at birth, your human experience ends at death. Life is infinite, eternal. Life is eternally now, and we are presently experiencing life in each moment, and we are life aware of life. We are life aware of itself, experiencing itself through form for no other reason besides to experience it. So when it comes to death, there really is no death. And it's easier said than, fully grasped. Like, I'm not to say that I don't, I like this human experience. I like experiencing Andrew. Like, the thought of it ending is like, can be worrisome. But understanding that I am the awareness of Andrew and that I don't die, it's like going back to the ocean analogy. I got my cup of water here. This is the ocean. It was scooped up from the ocean. So equate it to the human. You go to the ocean, it's the universe, scoop it up. It's now in the form of a cup, or say the universe in the form of a human. It lives, experiences human form for 80, 90, 100 years. And then I dump it back into the ocean. Just goes back. It is the universe temporarily experiencing form. And that's all we are. And we are simply the present awareness of this form. So anyway, this was a pretty long episode. I know I probably talked in circles, but I think it's something that I really wanted to drive home, this idea that I'm not Andrew Murnane. You are not the human that you have been conditioned to believe that you are. You are the present awareness of them. And it's a difficult thing to put into words, I think. I hope that this was helpful in some way, that it maybe helped you grasp this. Again, I'm not saying believe me or you'll burn in hell. uh, I'm just making jokes. But, this is my thinking, my current understanding of this whole crazy fucking thing we call life and the human experience. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I have been wanting to make it for a while. I'm glad I finally did. I'll probably, remake episodes like this in the future as my understanding deepens. I'm going to start having more guests on, moving back into New York in a few weeks. Going to have a whole podcast set up, probably. Very excited for that. Super excited to get back to New York. Probably really get going with things, take all of this stuff to the next level then. But anyway, that is all I got. Who the fuck are we? Who am I? Who are you? This is my understanding. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please toss it a like, share it. Share it on your Instagram story. I will be sure to repost it. Follow me on all the stuff, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, podcast stuff. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. But anyway, that is all I got. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Friday and weekend. Talk to you later. Peace.